of course, is listening to the radio as you are now, or whether it be over the radio in your car, or streaming on the internet, or on your mobile phone. But of course, now there's all these other services as well that help you not only discover music, but of course take the music that you find on radio and discover artists that are like that, and create playlists, share it around, that sort of thing. Well, one of these services is called Rdio, and it's recently launched in New Zealand, and it could quite well possibly be the biggest thing to happen to digital music in New Zealand since the launch of iTunes. Now, to tell us a little bit more about it, the background to it, and perhaps some of the difficulties of getting a service like this out there, is Carter Adamson, who is the one of the founding members of Rdio, and he joins us in Sydney, Australia today. Good morning to you, Carter.
Good morning, Glenn.
Good morning. Now, Rdio's been around a little bit longer than it's been in New Zealand. It's been around for at least, a year and a half or so in the States?
It's been around since August 2010 in the States. We launched actually simultaneously in the States and Canada. Okay,
and I think people are familiar with one of the other services out there that isn't in New Zealand yet, but they seem to have some pretty good branding. That is Spotify in Europe. Now, did you launch it around about the same time?
No, we launched it about a year after Spotify and some of the other services out there. I think we were the last entrant in this whole space of the notable ones, and we are the Skype guys. A lot of the Skype guys are here with the company, as well as some other of our engineers are from iMeme, which was in its time the largest music streaming service in the world.
So you were part of the Skype team that were delivering those services to computers and mobiles.
That's correct. I ran product there, and Malta Sigurdsson, who runs product at Rdio, was the creative director, and Nicholas and Giannis, of course, who are the founders of Skype, were behind this as well, and as well Kazaa. Back in the day.
Kazaa, yes. It's a pretty formidable team. Tell us how Rdio works. What is it?
So Rdio is a music subscription service that allows you access to the world's music for less than the price of an album every month. And it allows you access across all your devices. And additionally, you can save as much music as you like up to your individual device's memory card capacity. So if you have a 32 gig phone, you can save 32 gigs worth of music, and it plays locally on your phone, so on the airplane or the train or wherever.
So with digital music, traditionally, say with iTunes, you purchase an MP3 or you purchase a whole album that might cost, say, $10, $20, but that's all you get. You can't then go and listen to another album. You have to go and purchase that.
That's right. And so for the first time, new music comes out every Tuesday. So you no longer have to spend $1 a song or $18 for an album just to try it out. You can literally play every single album that comes out on Tuesday. You can save as many albums as you want to your phones, and throw it back into the water, so to speak, if you don't like it. So it's really freed people up to experiment and try new music again, or even find the old stuff, the CDs that they've lost back in college, and so we've really unlocked music again for people in that way.
I know it was useful for me last week. I went to a concert here in Auckland, and sort of 50% of the bands I was a bit hazy on. I didn't really know, but I wouldn't go out and buy their albums, but I was quite keen to listen to them. So Rdio was pretty good, as a discovery engine and make me more familiar with those artists. So that's quite a good use case right there.
That's great to hear. And I think, the thing that makes us shine vis-a-vis the others is really the discovery aspect of the service. And that's one of the things that we noticed that was totally broken when we initially looked at the space. Music, and discovering new music in particular, was hard work. It takes a lot of time. Again, we noticed a lot of people giving up on music, so to speak, after college, because it just took too much work to follow all the bands and the magazines and go to all the shows.
Yes.
And so what we've done here is we've taken a page from Twitter, and you follow people, and they may be the bands themselves or the artists or a radio station or a writer, and they help you prioritize, what cool things to check out on a daily basis.
Because that's important. You still need that curation in music, don't you?
Absolutely, because on one level, all these services are offering pretty much the same thing: unlimited access to the world's music for less than the price of an album every month across all your devices. But then you need some way of making sense of it all. And we found that discovering music through people is really the most natural way. It's the way you've always discovered music versus, say, the algorithmic approach.
But services like Rdio and Spotify, they've come under criticism, though, for the fact that it is so cheap for consumers to listen to all this music, but the artists aren't getting so much of a kickback.
Well, I think the industry is very new, first of all, and that will make sense very soon for the artists, and it already is making sense for many artists out there. I mean, as a marketing tool, it's incredible. The new bands, emerging bands, are suddenly finding audiences, and again, I think we're driving consumption because we have removed the penalties, so to speak, for trying out new music.
Yeah.
So people are playing more, and they're discovering new bands and artists, and so as a marketing tool, it's unbelievable.
So are you encouraging artists to think of it more as radio rather than digital downloads?
It's a discovery tool and a marketing tool to get to not only define new audience, but also to connect with their audience in a much deeper and more meaningful way.
But you have been quite cunning with the name, though, haven't you? RDO. It's quite similar to radio, so it sort of has that impression.
Yes. This was actually Jonas Fries's idea. Jonas, who is one of the Skype founders. It's a phonetic pun on radio, yes.
Yeah. What were some of the challenges with bringing it to new territories like New Zealand?
Well, I think in general the industry is getting better, but there's no template. There's no global template to roll out these services. So each country, each territory comes with its own set of idiosyncrasies. There are a number of different rights holders and interests to be balanced. So it takes time, and it takes a little bit of education, and I think that was the biggest challenge for us in all these markets. Yeah.
So how do you see that playing out into the future? I mean, we still have these deals that have to be reached in certain parts of the world. Do you see a time where there are just going to be global agreements when it comes to music and by extension movies as well?
I see that. Well, I can't speak for movies or TV, but I definitely see that time coming soon for music. I think we're not the only ones trying to build the world's first global music service, truly global music service, and so I think that time is going to be very soon.
So, what will New Zealanders find on there? Do we have access to everything, or are there still agreements to be ironed out, and there are some albums that we cannot listen to yet?
No, you have access to over 12 million songs. We're adding we add new music every day. We've done a deal with Amplifier, which is a local label there.
Brilliant.
And soon others. But we're constantly putting new music up there, and you're not limited to any part of the catalog at all.
Right. So we're going to see a significant portion of New Zealand music on there.
Absolutely. The Chills, Lady Hawk, they're all up there.
Wow. What about the conversation that was sparked last week by Neil Young with regards to the quality of music? He says that there's a generation growing up now who just don't know what really good quality recorded music sounds like, because what they're listening to is MP3s or the equivalent, and it's just not the same.
Well, I think the whole industry is trying, if you look at the entire music industry, it's always kind of trailed the playback device. So you had your record player, your CD player, your 8-track player. And now, for the first time in history, first of all, any device that can talk to the internet is now a playback device. And you have more and more mainstream consumers with more and more of these connected devices in their lives. And I think, that the quality will catch up to, we're already at 326 kilobits per second, which is pretty good, but it's not, what Neil Young is referring to. And I think that's just a matter of time before the quality gets up to the high fidelity standards that Neil Young's talking about.
On average, what is the size of each song, each file?
It's I can't, I don't have the number right in front of me, but it's a very seamless playback experience, and especially when again you save the song locally to your phone, it's as if it is locally on your phone, and there's no skip or pause in between songs.
Well, one of the challenges, of course, in a market like New Zealand is our data costs and the fact that we have data caps, which isn't so much of a problem in the States. And a lot of people are obviously worried about burning through their data caps each month. Will you be looking at creating agreements with telcos here?
Absolutely, and that's a concern as well in other parts of the world. And again, the way that the short-term way around that is to save the files or the songs locally to your phone, so you're not streaming at all.
Yeah, of course that's mobile broadband, but even at home, you got sort of 1 gigabyte or 10 gigabyte or 20 gigabyte caps. So a zero-rated service with telcos here would be beneficial.
Yeah, that's something that we need to work through with the telcos.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's so good to have a new service finally launched here in New Zealand, and a new way for people to listen to music. And Carter, we really appreciate your time here on the show this morning.
Thrilled to be on the show. Thanks so much for having me. That
is the founding member of Rdio, Carter Adamson from Rdio.com. Go check it out. There's a 7-day kind of free membership thing before you pay any money to check it out as well. It's well worth looking at. And if you want to find me on there, Glenn Williams, just search for me, and no doubt you'll come up there and we can share music, do something like